It's not the mountain that you're beating. It is your own self that you're beating. Edmund Hillary. Which mountain am I trying to beat? Well, it's actually the Zugspitze, the highest mountain of Germany with 2,962 meters. It is pretty much the top of Germany. The route I'm trying to do is across the Rheintal, and I'm starting at the Olympic ski jumping stadium. I started at the early morning because I'm an early riser at 4:20, and at around 5 o'clock in the morning I was then with Christian, my buddy, who's actually an experienced mountaineer, at the Olympic Stadium. Well, then we started to walk along the Partnachklamm, which is actually a river flowing through the Rheintal. You actually start at a stadium and you go up a street, which is pure concrete, so you have a good grip, but it's a pretty long way. You go from 700 meters to 900 up, and then you have to go back down to again around 700 meters. And this is actually where the Partnachklamm and the Färchenbach meets. So you actually you follow the river against the stream, up the stream, through a foresty area. So it's actually a pretty easy walk until you actually meet the Bockhütte, which is the first of 3 huts you can actually rest and collect fresh water. You may want to try to fill your water at the Partnachklamm. I'm not an expert and I wouldn't recommend it without a filter. I didn't do it because you can actually go to the restrooms in the huts and just get yourself some fresh water. It's a safe way to do it, but suit yourself if you feel adventurous. The whole thing goes through the Rheintal, and then you actually also see a waterfall. The scenery is unbelievable. I mean, from your right hand side and on your left hand side you have these massive mountains the entire time, and you walk through shade, which makes the whole thing pretty cold. And you don't make a lot of height meters good when you're traveling through the forest, through the foresty area. But don't worry about it. It is actually the easiest part of the entire trip. Your next stop would be the Rheintal Hütte, where you can actually refresh your water again, and then you actually hike up to the Weizbrünnel, which is actually the halfway point. It's actually a plateau at around 1,300 and 1,500 meters. It actually has this pretty big scar running across the plateau, and when you jump over it you actually have half of your way done there. This is also the point of no return. at least it was for me, when you don't feel good enough, you can return from this point on still back and make it in a good amount of time back into the city. And it is also the pretty much last time you get some shade, because this is actually where the tree forest area stops, and everything up to this point is more of a rocky climbing area. Yeah, at the date we did this was in the beginning of August. We had a blue clear sky and 26 degrees, which also meant yeah, having no shade at all is pretty challenging. You might actually ask yourself, what's so challenging about it? Well, you don't have you have gravel on your way, and you might actually ask yourself, well, then use those sticks. I mean, yeah, I would have used them, but my big brain forgot them at home. So yeah, it was going up the gravel 2 steps up and 1.5 steps back always. So yeah, this took a lot of time, and you don't actually see it in the videos, but it was really steep up there, so it is pretty challenging, and you actually have to climb up over stones and everything. One tip of mine is, when you're actually going up, you always see those signs, those plates that actually tell you how long it actually takes to one point to another. From my experience personally, you always can make it faster than it actually says there. For example, when it actually says 2 hours to the next point, you will pretty much do it in 1.5 hours, or even 1 hour 20. So you can actually make time good. And time is an essential thing when you actually climb up the Zugspitze. But I will come to this at a later point in the video. So your next stop would be at 2060 meters, which is the Knorrhütte. And this is actually where you see the most touristy things, because you actually have the opportunity to spend a night in the Knorrhütte, and there's also a restaurant with food and everything. So most people that do this climb will actually rest up there when they're in a large group or something like that. So they will rest there and climb the Zugspitze, the final part, in the next morning. Yeah, we didn't do that. I had a little bit of Coke there, Coca-Cola, and then you actually have a nice surprise, which is you don't go up just gravel, but you have the opportunity to go upstairs, to ascend to the Zugspitzplatt, which is pretty much the area you have to conquer to the base of the Zugspitze. And everybody who knows me knows I really love stairs, so it was nice to have them. And on your way to the Zugspitze, which is around 3 hours from this point on, maybe you can make it faster, but you also have to consider the locals. So they always are very friendly, and they like to get in your way, and you actually have to walk around them. Yeah, that was something I didn't expect. The whole area is more of a, you can actually say it's pretty much another planet. You actually see just gravel and there's nothing else. Of course you have those glacier parts. You can actually see there, there are still some spots of snow, which are nice because it's more of this muddy snow, so it gives you an opportunity to cool a little bit down, because as I said before, you don't really have the opportunity to get into any kind of shade, and you need to rest. Because at around 1,500 meters, I personally experienced a little bit of altitude sickness, which means my breath got caught short, and I stopped tasting things pretty much. Yeah, that is so if you have to rest, then rest. But yeah, at around 1.5 hours or something like that, you can make it to the it's called the gravel field, and this is actually a point where you need to think. There are two opportunities. At the base of the gravel field, you can actually climb up the gravel field, which will take you 1.5 hours approximately until you get to the Zugspitze station, or you take the elevator up there, this ski lift, I guess you would call it, up there, and you will be there at around 5 minutes. And the reason why I say you need to consider the time is because there are two lifts going down the Zugspitze. One is in Austria and one is in Munich to the Alpsee, where we were staying. We were actually staying in Garmisch-Partenkirchen, but you get down there and take the train back to Garmisch-Partenkirchen. Those two lifts, they run their final lap at different times. So when you're at the gravel field base, you need to consider how long it will take you to get there. Don't overestimate your abilities, because it is gravel. So the thing is, there you have 2 points where you can actually go up. One is the path most people will actually go, but the gravel there is extremely loose, so you will always slip down a little bit, and it is extremely exhausting, especially if you don't have a pair of sticks that helps you. And don't underestimate how steep it is. It is extremely steep to get up there. The other point is that you can actually climb over the gravel, and this is what we did, because the gravel was loose, but it was not so loose that you would actually slip down the entire time. So we did that, and at around 2/3 of the gravel field, you can actually go to the normal path there, which is not as steep as the first part of the gravel field. So you can actually walk up there in lines until you get to the wall of the Zugspitze. There you actually have a rope, a metal rope, where you can actually hold yourself and go up the wall. At this point in time, you have the opportunity to clip yourself in if you have the necessary gear for it. But keep in mind that you will be pretty slow, because the space between those clipping points is pretty small, so you have to clip all the time, and this will take also a lot of time. You can overturn people at specific points, but there are also points, most of the points, where you actually have to stand in line when people go up there. What you also have to keep in mind, some people are going down the Zugspitze and will cross you there. so it can come to traffic jams. And if you don't clip yourself in like we did, because we thought first of all, we don't have the gear for it, and we thought you can actually do it easy, and it was pretty easy. But the most important thing is, on this rope, always keep 2 hands on the rope, because it is a pretty steep fall down. So yeah, it's not like the gravel field itself where you, when you actually lose grip or something, you slide down a little bit. No, you actually fall down the mountain when you let go of the rope. So yeah, this is something you need to keep in mind. And yeah, with this being said, you ascend the wall and then you get to the first station. So there are actually 2 stations on the Zugspitze. First one is just a bunch of antenna for communication purposes, and then you're actually on the back of the mountain, where you actually have a footpath which is concrete, and you can actually go there. And of course you always have a rope that guides you there. And you have actually on the right hand side you have Germany in Bavaria, and on the left hand side there is Tyrol, the Austrian side. And the really epic thing that I could witness, I don't know if I recorded it, was when the clouds come from the Austrian side and go over the path will completely disappear, and you have nobody behind you and nobody in front of you, and this is really a mystical thing, just like out of a movie. And you just continue forward. Around at the middle of the back of the mountain, there it goes a little bit. It gets a little bit broader, so you can actually rest. And they have sitting banks there, where you can actually enjoy the view to Germany or to Austria, depending on your preference and the cloud thickness. And you can actually catch your breath there and then continue to the final lap to the Zugspitze station. One thing to say is there are stairs up to the station, but they're not connected to the bottom of the mountain. So you actually have to pull yourself up the stairs and then get up to the station. And it was one of the most epic things I've ever witnessed. It is I mean, I was completely burned out. I was pretty much burned out at the beginning of the gravel field, and I was like, come on, you can do this. And you go up there and you are actually at the peak at 2,962 meters, which is actually crazy to do this in one day. Of course, there are people that get up there and down there in one day, but that's not me. And when you're up at the station, you actually see the whole touristy thing, because you have those ski lifts that actually bring tourists up to the station. You actually have a restaurant there, restrooms, and a lot of other things, touristy things. So you can actually enjoy the view. And and of course I had my beer there. I had a beer at the tallest point of all of Germany, which was nice. I didn't taste anything of the beer, probably because of my slightly altitude sickness. But I mean, a beer is a beer. Yeah. Some people say you leave your old self behind at the bottom of the mountain and then become a new person at the top of the mountain. Is this the fact? Is this what happened to me? I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that I found my center and that I am not as easily stressed anymore as I was before. But yeah, it is definitely something you can do, and it was actually determination and my good friend Christian who actually motivated me to get up there, because to be honest, he also paced me. He said, yeah, let's rest here, let's rest there, because yeah, you need to take a lot of breaks. Well, at least I had to take a lot of breaks before I actually got up there. Yeah. Most important thing, pace yourself, and you might want to keep an eye on the watch and keep keep an eye on when the last ski lifts are actually departing from the top of the mountain, so that you don't get stuck up there, or you actually get have to go to another station to go down the to get down the mountain. Yeah, it's just a logistical thing, but it is something you need to keep in mind, even when you take a lot of breaks, and I did take a lot of breaks to get up there. Yeah, but the view and the experience itself was pretty much one of the best things I've ever experienced, and I can't wait for the next year to see which mountain I can climb then. Maybe I'm hooked to it. Yeah, so yeah, that was my experience, a little adventure at the top of Germany. This is definitely something to remember.